I submit to you that in fact there are a lot more simps out there than meets the eye. What do I mean by this? Well, recently, if you've been paying attention to the news, Amouranth, the Twitch streamer and person on OF, as they call it, has revealed that she has made well over $50 million on OnlyFans. And that in itself, of course, is pretty remarkable, especially when compared to her Twitch earnings. We're talking about something like $2 million a month on OnlyFans compared to something like $100K a month on Twitch. Now, $100K a month, of course, is nothing to scoff at, and many of us could only dream of such sums. But the thing that was revelatory about this news was the fact that the vast majority of her money came from messages, which is to say men sending her messages, and of course we all know that she doesn't read them and she's not going to respond to them, but men sending her messages in the hopes, presumably, that she would respond to them. The majority of the money of this over $50 million that she's earned on OnlyFans. Now, to be clear, I'm not going to claim that OnlyFans is a winning proposition for most women who go there. Apparently it's not. I've looked into it. Most women are earning a pittance. They're not earning a lot of money per month. But in the case of Amouranth, she is doing very, very well indeed. Now, as I said, the thing that's very striking about this and about her earnings is the fact that most of her money comes from messages. Messages from men or from teenagers, who knows, but messages from guys who think it's worth the time spending money to write a message to somebody that will never look at it, never read it, and almost certainly never respond back. And there was a time when we would talk about simps. I haven't heard the word simp in a long time. And I've been recently thinking about this, and I think I've come to the conclusion that simping in this sense has become so ingrained in our culture, and specifically in our economy, that it's just par for the course now. It's like someone ordering a Big Mac or fries. There's something about this simping process and the enrichment of foul, perfidious individuals such as Amouranth that is, for lack of a better word, astonishing. Because she's not the only one. Of course, she is the highest earner, among the highest of earners. But it's a very regular thing these days. And people just consider it to be normal. Now, Amouranth in particular is a especially odious person. You might not know this, but back in the summer, she ranted about her ex-husband purportedly abusing her. Well, that turned out to be bunk. She claimed that she hated doing all the nude stuff, the topless stuff, and in fact, what she really wanted to do was wear a sweater and stream video games. Well, I guess this is her version of wearing a sweater and playing video games. Total lie. The internet, to a large degree, bought into it, bought into her crocodile tears, bought into her fake claims. And here's the thing, I think Amouranth is probably laughing about all of this. She's laughing about all the money that she's made at the expense of others, and laughing about all the suckers who believed her when she made up that story about being abused by her husband. But what is the problem fundamentally with simps, a term you barely hear anymore? It's really gone out of fashion. Think about it. Even 2 or 3 years ago, you might still hear it. These days, not so much. Well, this is a new level, right? It used to be that, for example, someone interacting with a female streamer would send her money or messages. She might read the message out loud. She might have a quick interaction with the person. But we're talking about tens of millions of dollars made simply by sending messages. There's no way that she's done that. And in fact, Amouranth has created her own AI bot to take care of a lot of this work. She's used her vast money that she's earned to delegate and expedite many of these tasks that she would otherwise be burdened with, i.e. not dealing with the men that she's actually receiving money from. All this is mutated into what I like to call the simp industrial complex, because again, it's a normalized part of the economy. And what we can definitely observe here is that whatever lessons have been learned online, whatever good the manosphere has purportedly done, it has not reached the right people. In the sense that I don't think there's a single person out there who could in good conscience green light and say, look, this is a good thing. Yeah, spend all your money on a streamer who doesn't give a rat's buttocks about you. Now, there is a deep mystery at the end of the day here, if you think about it. Because the principle of simping is understandable. The idea that a guy will try to go out of his way to be nice or spend money or get her gifts or something like that, that is perfectly understandable, at least in theory. It's not an effective strategy. And we know that the only men who simp are men who are probably average to less than average in terms of looks, or in general have had not much success with women. That is understandable. But the logic, of course, of that lies in the fact that there's at least this seeming prospect of acquiring the female in question. Now, it's highly, highly unlikely and probably would never happen. But in a, say, IRL context of some guy going out of his way to be nice to a girl that he has interest in, she, of course, does not return the interest. At least she's there. Maybe she'll talk to him. Maybe she'll even take advantage of his generosity and go out to lunch with him. This is totally different. This is beyond somebody streaming on Twitch. They'll respond to your comments. This is spending money and throwing it into the void. And so the real question here, in the context of this new simp industrial complex, is what motivates men to do something like that? Now, I've heard many theories concerning this. One theory I heard from a friend recently, which I'm on the fence about, but I think is more reasonable than many, is that it's a bit like a gambling complex. Think about it. Chronic compulsive gamblers, I'm not one of them, and hopefully you're not one of them either, but what do? They think they can beat the house, obviously. They never can. They go in again and again and again, thinking that this time will be different, that the winning streak that they had could easily be replicated in the sense that, they had a little bit of a losing streak, they can go in again, and now they can make money again. There's an eerie overlap between a gambling compulsion or addiction and what you can observe with people sending only the gods know how many messages amounting to tens of millions of dollars to a shadowy, indifferent presence online that will never acknowledge them. So perhaps these men doing this are something like compulsive gamblers, thinking that this time, after they spent, $10,000, $20,000, this time she might respond. The same principle might apply, of course, to whales. The term whale from gaming. People that spend inordinate amounts of money on microtransactions. We're talking about thousands and thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars. These people exist, and there are many online games, for example, that are predicated exclusively on such people. But I think just as important as this, to talk about how we got here. Because the internet, and I've come to this conclusion, has largely been a bad thing. I don't think it's been nearly as good as people pretend it's been. Everything is a double-edged sword when it comes to technology, obviously. Things are good and things are bad. The sword cuts both ways. But to reach where we've gotten, to the point where this is totally acceptable on both ends, people like Amouranth basically exploiting desperate men and desperate men being taken advantage of and being allowed culturally, socially, to spend tons and tons of money on such people. It took a while to get here. And this is what you get in the anything goes society, which is where we live right now. Anything goes, virtually. You want to make money as a female on OnlyFans? Well, why not? Go ahead, do that. You can make tons and tons of money. Why not? There's nothing wrong with it. You want to spend half of your salary on something like that to get absolutely no reaction, no response, just to observe the person, why not? Something's gone wrong in our understanding and deciphering of parasocial relationships. The idea that probably, in addition to this compulsion theory, gambling, compulsion, addiction, these men cannot distinguish between perhaps reality and unreality, this parasocial relationship that isn't even a parasocial relationship anymore. As I said, Amouranth and many others have delegated a lot of this work to AIs. And so they end up doing practically nothing apart from showing off their body parts. Fully understand how far we've come. Think about another thing that Amouranth has been doing. She is selling her vaginal yeast to make a beer product. This is how seriously she takes it all. This is all a big joke to her. Now, it is true one day when her looks are no longer serviceable, she's only in her late 20s as far as I understand, maybe a couple more years, maybe 10, she will disappear from the internet with hundreds of millions of dollars and be set for life. And yes, there will be somebody new to replace her. But in my humble opinion, the men that are paying her exorbitant amounts of money, they need help. But we don't think for a second to help them. Nobody and no man should be spending that much money on a woman that gives them literally zero attention. Again, think about the classic IRL simp. The guy in the class at university who likes the girl, isn't very attractive, tries to be nice to her. She'll take advantage of him, taking her out to lunch or maybe accepting gifts. But she'll talk to him, maybe for 5 or 10 minutes, maybe even for half an hour. And that serves as fuel for this classic type of simp, this term that has gone under, that has disappeared in recent years. And where is the transaction here? This is how bad things have gotten. And you have to think about the psychology of such men. For a man to do something like that, he has to have fallen very far indeed. And there must be many of them to amount to tens of millions of dollars. Again, messages sent is the primary source of her income on OnlyFans. Free to be you and me. Anything goes. That's how we're living today. And that's how we ended up here. I personally find it wholly incomprehensible, as I'm sure you do. Even your average incel or blackpiller would find this totally incomprehensible. How then? You're getting literally nothing for it. Things like escort maxing, at least you're getting something for the money you pay. Classic example. Even the classic simp example I cited. Even being friend-zoned gives you some attention. This gives you nothing, nada. And this is only going to get worse and worse and worse, as many of these females online, if they're popular enough and wealthy enough, will delegate almost all this work to AIs. And not the type of AIs that people have talked about for a long time in the manosphere, such as robot girlfriends or waifus, the ones that give you personal attention. No, just AIs that are doing exactly the same thing as the person, only that the person no longer needs to engage in the work anymore. Again, one last time, think about this, dwell on this. How extreme the psychology of an individual must be in order to spend money on nothing, literally nothing. You're spending money sending messages to the air, to the ether. That's totally different from an escort, from a pro, from a classical simp friend zone relationship, from anything we've seen before. Messages for nothing. This in particular is a frightening and brand new phenomenon. Anyway, as always, thank you for tuning in. Many special thanks to my patrons and the people on PayPal. You guys are the best. You keep the channel alive and afloat. Without you, this channel will be naught but dust and ash. And as for everybody else, thank you for tuning in. If you can leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe, engage in all that YouTube jazz, it would be much appreciated. Until the next time, if I'm still alive, check you out then. May the gods watch over you. Bye-bye for now.
If you liked this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you enjoy my content, please consider making a donation or becoming a patron. Thanks for watching.